Hi, and welcome to session 28 of Your Divine Purpose devotional series. And this one I've called Big People. And number 28. And one of the shifts that I've talked about often is the shift from big church first to big people first. Now, here's the thing. You will probably still get your big church. But one of the things that people around me discovered, and you look at particularly some of the large cities in America, where there are very large churches, they don't always change cities. But big people change cities. Big people change nations. And so you'll still get the big church probably, but big people is really about empowering people. It's about not building the church so that the church becomes big. And again, we're back to empowering people to be the best version of themselves that they can possibly be. And, Jesus posed the great question to Peter in Matthew 16, who do you say that I am? And when Peter recognized who Jesus was, you're the Christ, the Son of the living God. Once Peter had recognized who Jesus is, Jesus was able to say, on this rock, on this big person, as it were, I can build my church. And so for me, big people, let me just unpack that just a little bit for you. It's also a part of the shift in emphasis from, as it were, the man of God, the priest in the church, and everybody depending on them, to more the priesthood of all believers. I do like that prophecy about a nameless, faceless move of God. It's not that we don't have names and that we're not recognized by God, but I think you all know that it's just not about it all being built around the one person who's able to gather the large numbers of people. It's about all of us taking our place. So what is a big person? And how do you create a culture that raises big people? Well, hopefully this book is a part of that. A book that helps people to discover their divine purpose as sent ones, sent from heaven to earth and through the church, sent again. Erasing the secular sacred divide. Encourage everyone to take their place and to know that there isn't church ministry and work in the world. It's all ministry. We're all in ministry, whoever we are, whatever we do, wherever we go. And so that kind of culture is vital. It's a culture of kingdom first, not church first. We still need the church. Yes, we really do desperately. But really the church is that local heaven's government office through which people are brought through and sent out and can come back to a place of belonging. So for me, let me just give you, and if I was drawing quadrants, this would be a quadrant session. But let me start with this. Big people know who they are. And of course, Jesus knew who he was. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the good shepherd. I am the bread of life. I am the door, he said. He knew securely who he was. And of course, the temptation in the wilderness of the devil was a challenge to him knowing who he was, as the devil kept saying, if you are. And of course, that happens to many of us, or probably all of us, a lot of times, is that challenge to our identity. But it's about knowing who we are. And then it's about knowing why we're here. And Jesus, of course, knew why he was here. I came to seek and to save, he said. I came to serve, not to be served. He knew that broad why, that sense of why. And I think it can vary through our lives, but finding that sense, as it were, that why I'm here, that confidence. And then secondly, where I'm going. And do you know where you're going? Do you have that sense of direction? And of course, we all ultimately have that eternal sense. But what is that current sense? The where am I going? Some years ago, I said that love is the fruit of knowing who I am. And joy is the fruit of knowing why I'm here. And peace is the fruit of knowing where I'm going. I still believe that those links are true. And then there's a fourth for the quadrant. Jesus knew the impact, the influence that his life would have. And this is what really makes big people, you see. If we send out big people into the world, into education, government, healthcare, and of course within the church, and the church world too, Something happens when they know who they are, know why they're here, know where they're going, and know the influence that their lives will have. And they walk in that sense of confidence and security, shame-free. And it's linked to something else I teach about believing our story. When we believe our story, it's where our authority comes from. And when we know ourselves, it's where our confidence comes from. And when we manage ourselves well, it's where our integrity comes from. And when we know where we're going, it's where our followers come from. And so for me, this is another big theme. And Peter was a big person. And Jesus said, on this rock. That sounds like a big person. And each one of us can become rocks in the eyes of Jesus as we recognize him and listen to the commission that he gives us, the assignment that he gives us. You can identify a few people to review, perhaps a few key people in your sphere who you could start to raise up and encourage on their journey of becoming a big person, encouraging them, believing them, cheering them on. What will you declare to reinforce what you've learned here today about big people? And reflect, have you experienced being part of a church or organization that builds big people rather than focusing on building the organization? And this is the key. Big people change the world, and our world needs change. We've talked previously about revival, reformation, renaissance, and all of those need big people who know who they are, know why they're here, know where they're going, and know the influence their life would have. And Jesus, of course, he knew that so well. He gave us the great John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he sent his son. Jesus was talking about himself, of course, there, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. I believe that it's time to raise up big people, world changers, history makers. And it might start around the family table, or it might be in leading a nation. But unless we've got these elements in place, we will not be the big person that we can be. We might even start off and be doing well and going strong. But if we're not secure in our identity, that's when some of the challenges come. So I encourage every one of you to believe and to pursue for yourself and for the others around them a life where you know who you are, why you're here, where you're going, and the influence that your life would have. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to talking to you again soon.